I did have an old Geeks and Gamers themed video I made like a year ago that I keep getting views and comments on, even though it's like about something to do with Pensacon. I barely even remember. But I guess I can read through some of these comments here before I sign off. Just for something to do to fill a little time, because I'm practicing and getting used to live streaming. And sitting here and talking for such a length without pausing and making edits and all that kind of shit. Haven't even lit a cigarette yet. Good lord. Let's see. On my video, which is titled Geeks and Gamers and the Downward Spiral of Fandom, Year-Long Giant 2 days ago commented that it's a shame that the toxic YouTubers like Jeremy cannot realize what damage he truly causes by spreading hatred and negativity through fan bases, specifically Star Wars and even Marvel. Each time he is called out, he or his fans insult them, then treating himself like a victim. Oh, the bitter irony of what he stands against being the very thing he has become. But then, when he finally apologizes to the individual he insulted, he immediately reverts back to his roots of hatred. It's disappointing toxic creators such as Jeremy are given such attention. It's not like all his points are terrible. It's just the way he goes about directing his thoughts that I do not personally agree with. But I have not watched his content for some time because of how boring his videos began to become when he centers it around hate culture. But I am sure that despite not watching his videos for some time, that he is still very much the same person, driven only by his greed for what he can make a profit off of complaining about. I don't necessarily think Jeremy revolves himself around hatred. He does certainly capitalize off of agitating people. That's kind of what more my angle is. Also, I don't really like the whole toxic fandom meme in the general, because I feel like it's cynically used so that people in the studios can provide themselves cover for their mistakes, and so they can get away with failure because they can blame it on toxic fans. It wasn't my fault for writing a shitty season of Star Trek Picard. It's the toxic fans. I'd like to know if anyone could think of any other industry in the world that sells stuff to people who are as antagonistic to their own customer base and or fan base as the modern day movie industry is. It's fucking ridiculous. I am not at all against Geeks and Gamers in the sense of like anti-SJW kind of bullshit. I agree with like maybe 70-80% of Jeremy's points in particular, and I do still watch his show. I'd say, yeah, he is still basically the same person that he was whenever this guy was watching his stuff, but he certainly seems a bit more empowered and self-assured lately because of some things that have happened in the intervening years. And it's not unjustified necessarily. I do still think that there is a cynical edge, though, to Geeks and Gamers and what they do, and that they do need to keep the agitation alive, which means they can never allow the properties that they focus upon. They can't let them off the hook, because then their audience goes away, and so they have to keep the audience disliking these things no matter what they do, which blinds them. And while there is a lot of things that Lucasfilm has done, Rise of the Skywalker, that have really fucking sucked, it doesn't mean that they haven't also done cool things. So, or that they don't have the potential to do cool, better things. And so I guess we'll just see. I'll at least say that I guess Jeremy at Geeks and Gamers and most of the other Fandom Menace channels were much more accepting of The Mandalorian than they had been of the last several movies that have come out from Lucasfilm. There might be some cynical things behind that, perhaps. I do think it's kind of funny that The Mandalorian, in many ways, from a storytelling perspective, is such retrod Western trash. However, people respond to it because it's actually predictable. I think movie-going audiences might be suffering a little bit from plot twist fatigue. Ever since M. Night Shyamalan had put out The Sixth Sense, Hollywood has just gotten this big thing about having plot twists and subverting expectations. Last Jedi is just an example of that. But this has been an ongoing, increasingly problematic, from my point of view, thing with how movies and television shows are written. They're constantly trying to pull the rug out of the audience because they don't want the audience guessing what's going to happen and talking about it on the internet before it happens. But that's very dissatisfying for people who are listening to a story to have that happen to them all again. Oh, I mean, happen to them all the time. Humans have been telling each other stories around campfires for at least 200,000 years. And the audience is participatory in the story. Or if you want them to be participatory in the story, they have to be engaged with it, and they can't be constantly defied and let down about it. And I think that's why The Mandalorian, despite being like such rehashed old stuff, is something that people like, even if they don't always articulate it as the reason why they like it. It's because they see where it's going, and then it actually goes there, so it feels more satisfying. Not to say that all plot twists are bad, but every goddamn movie and television series cannot be reliant on plot twists. Because then they stop meaning anything, and you stop wanting to watch. So anyway, let's look at some other comments here. David Pitts, from a year ago, Jeremy is one of the most toxic YouTubers ever. I'm already not on the page with this. I know, like, it's funny when I'm seeing someone agree with me, but I'm like, I don't want you to agree with me in that way. I don't think you're quite getting my point. Anyway, I would hate to feel the need to watch 5 Hate the Last Jedi videos a day for the past year. If you want to see the best YouTube review for a Star Wars movie that has not been already hammered to death into the ground by every channel out there, I somewhat facetiously decided to do a full movie review / commentary for the Vivid Entertainment Star Wars XXX parody. It's in 2 parts. It's fairly recent in my channel. All you have to do is just go back the last couple weeks and watch them. There's nothing pornographic shown. Basically, I'll show clips from the movie and comment on it, and then when they get to the shall we say, the big action scenes, it's just entirely me commenting on it, and I skip large chunks because they drag on too long. But I think it's amusing. It's a little meta. The whole thing is supposed to be commenting on how seriously everyone takes Star Wars movies, because I'm sitting there watching a Star Wars XXX parody and purposely being way too serious about how it's breaking canon. So feel free to watch it and check it out sometime later. I'd appreciate the views and the likes. I need likes to live. I need subscribers to feel valid about myself. Please. David Pitts again. I wish other people would speak out on this. You can now notice a lot of small channels jumping on this hate Lucasfilm agenda to try and build their own viewing base up. Yeah, and I've been resisting that. And I think in some ways that hurts me, though, because especially with some of the when I was doing reviews for Star Trek Picard, back when that was on the air, I was doing a review for each one after watching it when it came out. And at first I was trying so hard to be positive about it. And all that just leads is just a bunch of disingenuous stuff. And I guess, you can tell when someone's opinion isn't really being generated from a place of honesty. But Star Trek Picard had so much shit happen at it towards the end of that season that I broke down and I just couldn't put up with it anymore. So the last couple of Star Trek Picard reviews are much more of the fuck these people and the ridiculous bullshit they're doing with my property. I hate to say it, but I've actually found that since Picard went off the air, the couple times I've tried watching The Next Generation, it's kind of ruined it for me. So congratulations, CBS All Access, you fucking wanks. Open-minded metal elitist a week ago said the clitoris is the most sensitive zone of the female anatomy, not nearly as sensitive as Geeks and Gamers talking about Brie Larson. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Bronze Alive. No matter what Disney does with Star Wars, good or not, they put a negative spin on it no matter what, even if a new trilogy is made by a decent creator and they release something remotely decent. People will still find a way just for clicks, like they go on about Disney not having a plan in the sequels, yet when Disney is clearly planning the High Republic era, these people still bash Disney for that. I thought we were supposed to get better, not just continue trashing things. I don't think they were bashing the High Republic stuff because they were planning it. I think they were bashing the High Republic stuff because of some of the things they were including in the planning of it. by feeling like they had to emphasize diversity, which, like, does anyone even really need to say that out loud nowadays? Do they really need to have written that down on a chalkboard? Like motherfuckers don't know going in that you might want to stick like one or two brothers in your cast? To me, that was more like they knew that it was being filmed. They knew that was going to be put online, so they knew they better fucking write that shit in there so that people who don't hear them say it and are literal-minded idiots are going to assume that they don't care about diversity. So much of what's wrong with this world is the fact that too many people take every last single thing they hear out of someone's mouth as literal truth. You know, it's one thing on the text-based sites like Facebook and Twitter, where people can't hear your vocal inflections or see your body language, to take words out of context because you're introducing your own mental voice when you're reading something that's text. And so it's possible to not understand that you're reading something sarcastic. But in video format, if you can't tell that someone's pulling your fucking leg, man, I don't know how to help you. And so we got one last comment here from Dex Star. G plus G is identity politics, trash clickbait channel. Yeah. Well, it's great that this video, and we've had all these anti-geek and gamer people been watching it and leaving comments and likes and all that kind of stuff. It'd be interesting if any of that would ever translate to people hitting the fucking subscribe button. I mean, is it YouTube? Is it me? Please validate me. Please. Ah!